A major explosive volcanic eruption is now expected to occur in Alaska in the next few weeks to months, although an important asterisk is that such an eruption still might not happen. However, the chance for now is greater than 50%, meaning an explosive volcanic eruption is more likely to occur than to not occur. Such an eruption is expected to occur from the closest active volcano to Alaska's largest city, Anchorage, via a presumably powerful eruption of Mount Spurr. Yes, this glacier-covered volcano was the same volcano which dumped 1/4 of an inch of ash on Anchorage in 1953 and 1/8 of an inch of ash in 1992. If a similar eruption to these two large magnitude eruptions were to happen this year, it would for a time disrupt significant amounts of air traffic, since even very minor amounts of airborne ash can cause airplane engines to stall or ignite. But since what I said has fairly major implications, a significant amount of evidence is needed. Well, here is that evidence. Whenever magma intrudes into the shallow crust, it displaces adjacent rock, causing the ground overlying such an intrusion to rise. Scientists have been monitoring exactly such a magma intrusion at Mount Spurr since February 2024, which has pushed up the overlying ground by as much as 2.8 inches or 7 centimeters. While this might not sound like a lot, as a quick reference, a prior period of unrest during 2004 to 2006 at Mount Spurr, which saw the ground rise by up to 5 centimeters, involved an estimated 55 million cubic meters of magma. If that volume of magma was to have erupted during that prior unrest episode, it could have generated up to a low-end VEI4 explosive eruption, perhaps up to about 1/10 the size of the 1980 eruption of Mount St. Helens. And while we don't know the exact volume of magma involved in the current unrest, it is presumably larger than 55 million cubic meters. But, as I just stated, since Mount Spurr last erupted in 1992, it has underwent 2 other periods of unrest. If those did not result in a volcanic eruption, since they both involve ground uplift indicating a magma intrusion, why would we expect the current magma intrusion in 2025 to result in a different outcome? Well, every scientific reading indicates a stronger ongoing unrest episode than the prior two at the present, with more uplift, geothermal vent changes, gas emissions, and earthquakes being involved. Earthquakes during the beginning of the year were consistent with a body of magma intruded 2 to 3 miles below sea level, largely striking underneath the summit of Mount Spurr. However, on January 27th, earthquakes largely shifted to beneath the crater peak vent, with a specific cluster of events progressing up the suspected location of the vent's magma conduit. This occurred alongside an 800% jump in sulfur dioxide emissions at Mount Spurr's summit, and carbon dioxide emissions from the crater peak vent were described as especially high by the Alaska Volcano Observatory. This carbon dioxide detection is the most important piece of evidence, as values this high have generally only been detected prior to a volcanic eruption occurring. With all of this data in mind, 4 possible outcomes were noted by the Alaska Volcano Observatory. 1. Explosive eruptions approximately equal in magnitude to Mount Spurr's 1953 and 1992 eruptions. 2. A less explosive eruption than what occurred in 1953 and 1992. 3. No eruption occurs as magma stalls below ground. 4. An explosive volcanic eruption larger than what was observed in 1953 and 1992 occurs. At the present, possible outcome number 1 is considered to be the most likely result of Mount Spurr's current unrest. If that were to occur, 1 or more, probably multiple pulses of subplinian or large volcanic explosive eruptions would happen, involving sustained 10-minute to multiple hours-long 8 to 16 kilometer or 26,200 to 52,500 foot high eruption columns. These highly energetic phases are generally separated by days to months, with weaker or very little if any eruptive activity occurring in between them. These overall eruptions have historically lasted from 8 days to 3 months. For example, the 1992 eruption involved 3 pulses across 3 months which deposited 3 layers of ash which altogether were up to 140 centimeters or 55 inches thick close to the volcano, up to an inch thick within 12 miles of Mount Spurr, and causing a trace amount of ash to fall as far away as 470 miles within Canada's Yukon Territory. Of course, like many magmatic intrusions, this could completely stall without triggering a volcanic eruption at Crater Peak. That outcome is still possible, just less likely than the chance of an eruption occurring by the end of the year. While a few structures do exist southeast of Mount Spurr, some of these structures in current models could only experience the horror hazards during a record-setting Spurr eruption. As a final note, I would like to thank my new YouTube channel member David Priest for supporting my work.